Hey, hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tobias and I'm originally from Sweden, so you will get a lot of Swinglish from me. I do apologize for that. But most importantly, I talk about music. And that's hopefully why you clicked on this video, because just like me, you have a passion for music, perhaps listening to people talking about music or talk about music yourself. So yeah, here we are. And today I'm going to list the best of 2023. I did a similar video a while back where I was listing, it was something like my favorite music pickups 2023 so far or something like that. It was more about the things that I bought during the year, and those were my favorites. Today I'm set a criteria for myself. I'm going to list my favorites from 2023, but they have to be released in 2023. They could be re-releases, new releases, compilations or whatever. I don't care, because all of these are equally dear to me. So that also means there will be no ranking of this one. There won't be a 10-1 or vice versa. These are all things that I loved from 2023 and that was released during 2023. So let's kick things off. First off on this list of my favorite releases from 2023 is from an artist who did liven up things a couple of years ago in a very bleak period. She arranged something called Kitchen Discos here on YouTube. And she got even more famous than she was before. I'm of course talking about Sophie Ellis-Bextor and her new album, Hannah. This one I've been listening to a lot since I picked it up in September this year. And it really gives me that warm, nice, a bit of a reflective feeling listening to it. So I was just about to say it's far removed from her disco, kitchen disco thing, but it's not that far really, because you still got some really nice dance tracks in here, but I think it's more reflective, more laid back, really nice listening, really good songs on it. And it was also inspired, what I gathered, from her visits to Tokyo, Japan, so hence the Obi strip kind of thing here. And yeah, the production and, like I said, the songs are all brilliant, and that combine that with Sophie's unique voice and you got the perfect blend. And what a stunner of an album. Hannah from Sophie Ellis-Bextor. And now to Camden Town in London and my favorite Nutty Boys, Madness, and their latest album, C'est la vie. Wow, what an album, and what a comeback. And I say comeback because if you watch my some of my previous videos, you know my love for Madness, and I talked about the previous two albums from this one. I wasn't too fond of those. I thought they lost a lot of their spark, but boy oh boy, they're back here. They found the formula again, and that unmistakable Madness sound is back as well. Good songwriting. They're showing the world that they still got it, and the showmanship in the live shows is on form, I would say. Yeah, all of that comes with this brilliant album, C'est la vie. There is that sound that became the Madness sound from albums like Rise and Fall from the early 80s, and of course Seven before that. Absolutely. And I also say Mad Not Mad from the late 80s. All of that is incorporated in this one. They took hold of the Madness sound again, I think, in my opinion. That's all I can say. A brilliant, brilliant album. Madness did it again. Wow. C'est la vie. And now to one of the most brilliant artists to ever walk this earth, in my humble opinion. And I know I'm not alone in this one. I'm talking Kirsty MacColl and the release of See That Girl. This is an 8 CD box set that came out pretty late this year, and boy oh boy, what a box set. I've been a fan of Kirsty MacColl ever since the mid 80s, and I got a lot of her records, but there's a lot of goodies in this one. It's not your usual best of compilation, because there's been a lot of those in the past, but this is the pinnacle of everything Kirsty MacColl. Nothing this comprehensive has ever been released when it comes to Kirsty MacColl, at least to my mind. What you get here, like I said, is 8 CDs, and for example, on the first one you get all the single tracks, and then from disc 2 and onwards you have everything from 1979 to 2000, when we sadly lost Kirsty MacColl. You also get a lot of live recordings here, extended mixes, remixes, and actually a whole album that was supposed to be released in the early 80s but never came to fruition. It's on here. So this is something for the hardcore fan collector of Kirsty MacColl, as well as people just curious about Kirsty MacColl. This is the ultimate gateway when it comes to Kirsty MacColl. You will get everything in this one. And the presentation of it is stellar. All the discs are presented in like a gatefold packaging kind of thing, with nice graphics and photographs. And you will also get a book in this one with a lot of nice photos in it, and liner notes about Kirsty MacColl's musical career, the tracks included in this box set, and so forth and so on. It's just a beautiful presentation, worthy of such a great artist as Kirsty MacColl. This is absolutely one of my favorites from this year. The box set of Kirsty MacColl's See That Girl. 2023, also the year when I rediscovered some disco, and more specifically Italo Disco. So Italo Disco was something that came on my radar perhaps, I think, 83, 84, when I heard my first tracks, and I soon became a fan of both Scotch, Ken Laszlo, Mike Marine, and Koto. Never forget Koto. What a brilliant artist, Koto, right? Yeah, well, so that's where I discovered that one, and along the way one thing leads to another. So when you discovered Italo Disco, I eventually came into the Pet Shop Boys, which is very much influenced by Italo Disco in my opinion, and that one led to other things that led to another thing. And usually whatever started it you leave behind, but I never really left Italo Disco behind, because it's such good dance music. So what it basically is, it's music produced for dance floors by Italian producers, performed by Italian artists, of course. So that's the short one of it. So back to 2023. Early in the summer, I was listening to a playlist on Spotify with Italo music, and all of a sudden something came out of the speakers, something I never heard before, but it blew me away. It was an artist called Clio, and the track was called Eyes. I can see your eyes while I'm walking on the stage, waiting for you. And what a track this is. Released in 1984, re-released earlier this year, so I got hold of this reproduction of Clio. It just looks just like the original maxi single, and it's got the vocal version on the A side and the dub mix on the B side. And what I gathered from Clio as an artist, because she's got a brilliant voice, the song is, like I said, it's outstanding. It blew me away. She wrote both, I think could be at least the lyrics on this one, but I think the music as well, because she is credited here, along with Roberto Ferrante, who produced this. It's a killer of a song. And I also, in my research on Discogs, realized that she released a single before this one called Faces, fittingly enough. And that one is actually better than Ice. When I say it's better than this one is still so brilliant, so it's above all the rest of the Italo tracks I ever heard in my life. So there you got the bar. So if Faces is better than this one, which is above everything else, you can just imagine, is two brilliant maxi singles. And what I gather, those are the only two that she ever released as a solo artist, Clio. But she did end up in a duo in the late 80s, I think 88 to 89. But that's a story for another time. Ice with Clio, absolutely stunner of a maxi single picked up this year and on my favorites list for 2023. Okay, next one up is actually another Italo Disco record that I discovered. I think it's probably from the same playlist where I discovered Clio from. This time around it was from an artist called Helen, and the track is I Love You from 1989. And I was a bit curious when I first heard this, who Helen really was, because like I said, I never heard this track before, and how could I missed it? And in my brief research, I came across some contradictions. So one source stated that Helen was more like a project. So when they released their first single in somewhere in 1983 or 84, it was one artist that was Helen, and then on the second single it was another artist doing Helen, and then for the third one another Helen. But then another source states that it was actually Elena Ferrati all along that was the voice of Helen. But I don't know what to believe, because when you look at Discogs then, for this particular release from 1989, it does state there is an uncredited voice on this one, which is Elena Gobi Frattini. That's it. I had it written down. And excuse my pronunciation, by the way, all Italians out there. So I suspect it's actually true that this was a different singer, because when listening back to the other previous singles, it does seem like it's a similar voice. So it could be the same one, could be Elena Ferrati on those ones. But on this one from 1989, it doesn't sound like the same person. So let's just say, for the sake of it, this is Elena Gobi Frattini, but someone should make a documentary about this, gather whoever's left from this production and interview them and make a real deep dive. That's a recommendation for me. But now back to this one. Whoever it is, it's got a great voice, and it really carries this record. And it is a record that I shouldn't really pay much attention to in the first place, because it starts out with a borrowed bass line from Donna Summer's I Feel Love. But then, gradually, it just goes into its own being, its own creation, with some other layered synths on top of this bass line. And of course, you got some orchestral hits, because we're still in the 80s, right? It just goes on, some really nice synth arpeggios, and at some point in the middle of a song, it always reminds me, with those synth arpeggios going on, of the brilliant track from Eighth Wonder, I'm Not Scared. So it's like a big mashup of everything that was great about the late 80s dance track. And yeah, I got hold of this re-release. It was also re-released in 2021, I think, but this year we got it on blue vinyl. Here it is. Nice, transparent blue vinyl. It's really beautiful. But what really matters here is the track, of course, I Love You. What a track. And they re-released it with the original vocal 8-minute version. Could go on even longer in my book. It could just go on and on forever. And then the original B-side, which was the instrumental. And then on side B, you got 2 new fresh remixes of this one. The most notable one is the Fleming Dahlem remix. Really, really good, but could never beat the original. This is certainly one of the great awakenings in my musical life journey, if we could put it that way. This is Helen, I Love You. I certainly love this record. More disco! Yes, you can never have enough disco in my world. So this summer we were treated by a single from Kylie called Padam Padam, and it became a big hit for her, one of my absolute favorite tracks from this summer. And it was just a taste of what was to come in mid-September when she released Tension, her latest album. What a great album. One of her best ones, I would say. I really love this one. But shortly after that one was released, she also announced that there would be, just like her previous album, Disco, an extended version of that album. Here is that one from Disco, very glittery and nice. So yeah, it's the same track order, the same tracks as on the album, but they are extended mixes. So this December, the beginning of December, this one was released Extension, and I just had to get this one because I love the disco one. Actually, I thought the extended mixes were a tad better than the original album. Even if those tracks were brilliant, it was just a bit better. The same happened with this one. Love this one, but this one, the new mixes, they really bring things home. Brilliant remixes. And it's exactly what it is. It's remixes. They say it's extended mixes. I would say in some cases we're talking seconds longer, because extended mixes imply it's longer, but we're just talking a couple of seconds. In best case scenarios, I think it's a minute. So they should really be called remixes. But if that was the case, we wouldn't get that brilliant title of it, Extension. So I don't know. It's just nitpicking from my side. What a brilliant remix album of the original one, Attention. So this is one of my favorites. And so far, it's only available on vinyl. Probably will be a CD release further down the line. I would be surprised if not. And I just have to show you the vinyl. It came on as well. Translucent, splatter vinyl. It's a double one, just like the disco extended mixes was as well. But wow, just look at that. That's disco for you. Kylie and Extension. What do you say? Let's do some more dance music, shall we? There is one more track from the dance pop department that really grabbed my ears this fall, actually in November when it was released. And it's from an artist that I got acquainted with during the lockdowns here in the UK, the pandemic. Pure dance music with influences from 80s pop, so it just made for me, really. The artist in question is Dua Lipa, and the album that I listened to quite a lot then was Future Nostalgia. And this one I picked up probably a year later. This is an expanded edition called the Moonlight edition, so it's got some extra tracks. But this one is such a gem, one of my favorite albums ever, really. There's not a bad track on this, in my opinion. Like I said, influenced by 80s pop. You can't go wrong in my book with this. So, Dua Lipa this November released a new track. I don't have it on physical format. I know it's released on a CD single, but I'm awaiting the new album so I could get the whole thing. Because I'm sure if it's half as good as this one, it's probably be on my list of the best of 2024 next year. Anyhow, the single in question is Houdini by Dua Lipa, and it's a banger.
As the children say nowadays.
What a pop song. It's really, really good. And that is why Dua Lipa, I'm glad to say, is on my best of 2023 with her new single Houdini. I'm looking forward to the new album. And moving on to a legend. I would say it's a legend in the music industry. An album that also arrived quite late this year. Seems to be a trend for this list, but a lot of good things popped up late this year. And Peter Gabriel is no exception. His 10th studio album, I.O., was released. And I have to be honest, I haven't listened that much to Peter Gabriel since he released the Us album, and with the previous album, the album before that. So I was introduced to Peter Gabriel, like so many other kids during the 80s, with hits like Sledgehammer, Big Time, and so on. I thought it was great, and like I said, I listened to his follow-up, Us, as well, but somewhere around that time I lost track of Peter Gabriel, sadly. It was just in recent years when I picked up his debut solo album, which I think is terrific. And then in the beginning of this year, he started releasing tracks from this album with every full moon, and some alternative mixes on every new moon, and so forth and so on. I think I listened to 2 or 3 tracks of these, and I was like, yeah, I'm intrigued. So I pre-ordered this one, and it was released on the 1st of December this year. And boy, this is a good album. And it's an album, when I listen to it, one of the few albums, I would say, that I get really emotional listening to. The lyrics are so good. The music is stellar on this one. And Peter Gabriel's voice, to me, hasn't really changed since I listened to So for the first time back in the 80s. It's still as powerful and wonderful as ever, I have to say. Yeah, this is a really good one. And I think this is a man who, of course, reached a certain age, is looking back, and it reflects in the lyrics. But that's just my interpretation of this. But it really grabbed me. I know I'm not in the same age as Peter Gabriel, but I think what you experienced in life with love, life, and danger and all of that, it does reflect back on you. And Peter Gabriel is a master when it comes to put that down in lyrics and in music. Besides being a really good album, the packaging is really nice. As you can see, I opted in for the CD variant. This is actually the 3-disc one. And he released 3 different mixes of this album. One called the Bright Side mix, one called the Dark Side, and the Inside mixes. And I got all 3 of them here. I only listened to 2 of them. I started out with the Bright Side mixes, and then I went on to listen to the Dark Side mixes. And to my ear, it's very subtle, the differences between those. I think I need to listen more between the mixes to actually make out what the real differences are. The Inside mix is a Blu-ray disc with Dolby Atmos, so I haven't listened to this one yet, but I will. But yeah, to me it would have sufficed with 1 mix really, but it's nice to have this anyway. And like I said, it's really nicely packaged with all this artwork. And it also comes with a really nice little booklet, and I can imagine this one is even better when you buy the vinyl formats, because there's some stunning pictures and drawings in this booklet made by different artists, some photos as well. It's really nice, and they all combined with a different track from this album. So I think the artists were inspired by what Peter Gabriel and the other musicians did on this album. So they got inspired by the different tracks. A really, really nice booklet. And like I said, with a bigger format, this is pure art, really. So yeah, I really liked what I heard, and that is why Peter Gabriel's new album, I.O., is on my best of 2023. It hugs my heartstrings. Next one up is one that I already reviewed on this channel, so I won't stay too long when describing this one. I'm talking KLF and 23 Seconds to Eternity. It just had to make my list for 2023 best of, because this is such an awaited release and such an unexpected release as well for 2023. But we knew something was going to happen in 2023 when it came to the KLF, right? So this happened at least. But there's still time. We're not in the new year yet, so who knows. But if you want to know more about this brilliant release by the KLF, go and watch my review of that. And that's it. One of my favorites for 2023, KLF, 23 Seconds to Eternity. And last but not least in any shape or form is someone who I discovered just a couple of years ago by picking up this album, NFR. And I'm of course talking about Lana Del Rey. This is a great album. I haven't heard much from her before this one, just a couple of tracks, but it intrigued me, so I was like, yeah, I'll pick this one up, and I haven't regretted it a bit. It's a really good one, and then I followed it up with this one, I think 2 years later, Chemtrails Over the Country Club. It's even better. It's a bit different in styles. This is more Americana than the pop, rock, folk blend that she usually does. There's a lot of melancholia in this as well, looking back, quite dreamy tracks in its place, but this one goes more back to classical Americana. Really love these albums. It gets me in a really good mood, very relaxing albums. And earlier this year, she released a new album, and it's called, did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? No, I didn't, but now I know. And this is the best to date, in my opinion. And granted, I haven't listened to all of her previous albums, but to me, this is the best in my collection so far. And certainly one of the best of 2023. It's a bit different from what I heard before. There's a lot of tracks on this one because there's a lot of interludes and things like that that connects the tracks together. I really like that. But it is as soothing and sometimes upbeat as well. It's a really good blend of music, and Lana Del Rey's voice, it just got that soothing feeling. Gets you dreaming and gets you really relaxed. So Lana Del Rey's album, did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? One of the best one of 2023 in my book. That's it. That was my favorite releases from 2023. And before I continue this outro, I just want to say to the Depeche Mode fans out there, because I know some of you are watching my videos. I'm very thankful for that. I'm a big Depeche Mode fan myself. And they did release a new album this year, but unfortunately I didn't think it was up there with the best releases. Sorry about that, but that's just my opinion. Still think it's one of the better outputs they have made in the last couple of years. But yeah, it didn't really make the mark. Still love the band, and I will be talking a lot about Depeche Mode in 2024, I promise you, so I will make it up to you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Very welcome here, David.
Pardon?
This time I said David. I said, very welcome here, David.
Hello. David, yeah.
I also want to say a big thank you to all of you who are watching my videos and probably, hopefully, find them interesting, and you will continue joining me in the new year, and where we will get more interesting, better, and all of that, yeah. Because there's a lot of music that I'm passionate about, that I want to talk about, do some specials and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a big thank you to all of you, and a big thank you to all of you who like my videos. I really appreciate that, and for you guys who have subscribed to my videos as well, of course. Really appreciate it. Love you all, and I wish you all a happy new year, and we'll be seeing you early in 2024 again. Until then, take care of yourselves, and adieu.